Page Layout menu. Page Layout tab contains various groups such as themes, page setup, page background, paragraph, etc. Themes group. The available options are themes. Change the overall design of the document. Colors. Change the color of the current theme. Fonts. Change the font of the current theme. Effect. Change the effect of the current theme. Page Setup Group. In Page Setup Group, the available options are margins. In Page Setup Group, the available options are orientations. Switch the page between portrait and landscape layout. Size. Choose the paper size of the current section. Columns. Split text into 2 or more columns. Breaks. Add page, section or column breaks. Line numbers. Add line number in the margin alongside of each line of the document. Hyphenation. Turn on hyphenation, which allows the word to break lines between the syllables of words. Page Background Group. Through this option, you can insert a watermark, which is a ghosted text or picture behind the content of the page. Page Color, which is the color for the background of the page. Page Borders. Add or change the border around the page. In Paragraph Group, the available options are indent. Move in the left or right side of the paragraph by a certain amount. Spacing. Change the spacing between the paragraphs by adding spaces below the selected paragraph. Arrange Group. In Arrange Group, the available options are position. Position the selected object on the page. Wrap text. Change the way text wraps around an image or selected object. Bring forward. Bring the selected object forward. Send backward. Send the selected object backward. Selection pane. Show the selection pane to help select individual objects and to change their order and visibility. Align. Align the edges of multiple selected objects. Group. Group objects together. Rotate. Rotate or flip the selected object. Page and section numbers. Marking words or phrases. Marking words or phrases. To use existing text as an index entry, select the text. To enter your own text as an index entry, click where you want to insert the index entry. On the References tab in the Index group, click Mark Entry. To create the main index entry that uses your own text, type or edit the text in the main entry box. If you want, you can customize the entry by creating a sub-entry. By creating a sub-entry, a third-level entry, or a cross-reference to another entry. To create a sub-entry, type the text in the sub-entry box. To include a third-level entry, type the sub-entry text followed by a colon and then type the text of the third-level entry. To create a cross-reference to another entry, click Cross-Reference under Options and then type the text for the other entry in the box. To format the page numbers that will appear in the index, select the bold checkbox or the italic checkbox below Page Number Format. To format the text for the index, select the text in the main entry or sub-entry box. Right-click and then click Font. Select the formatting options that you want to use. To mark the index entry, click Mark. To mark all occurrences of this text in the document, click Mark All. To mark additional index entries, select the text, click in the Mark Index Entry dialog box and then repeat step 3 through step 6. Creating the index. Creating the index. After you mark the entries, you are ready to select an index design and insert the index into your document. Click where you want to add the index. On the References tab, in the Index group, click Insert Index. Do one of the following. Click a design in the Formats box to use one of the available index designs. Design a custom index layout. In the Formats box, click From Template and then click Modify. In the Style dialog box, click the index style that you want to change and then click Modify. Under Formatting, select the options that you want. To add the style changes to your template, click All documents based on the template. Click OK twice. Select any other index options that you want. Note: to update the index, click the index and then press F9 or click Update Index in the Index group on the References tab. If you find an error in the index, locate the index entry that you want to change. Make the change and then update the index. If you create an index in a master document, expand the subdocuments before you insert or update the index. Editing or formatting an index entry and updating the index. If you don't see the XC fields, click Show or Hide in the Paragraph group on the Home tab. Find the XC field for the entry that you want to change. For example, XC Callisto by T. Simons. To edit or format an index entry, change the text inside the quotation marks. To update the index, click the index and then press F9 or click Update Index in the Index group on the References tab. Editing or formatting an index entry and updating the index. If you don't see the XC fields, click Show or Hide in the Paragraph group on the Home tab. Find the XC field for the entry that you want to change. To edit or format an index entry, change the text inside the quotation marks. To update the index, click the index and then press F9 or click Update Index in the Index group on the References tab. Deleting an index entry and updating the index. Deleting an index entry and updating the index. Select the entry. Select the entire index entry field, including the braces, and then press Delete. If you don't see the XC fields, click Show or Hide in the Paragraph group on the Home tab. To update the index, click the index and then press F9 or click Update Index in the Index group on the References tab. Table of Authorities. A table of authorities lists the references in a legal document, along with the numbers of the pages the references appear on. To create a table of authorities, you mark citations and Microsoft Word inserts a special TA, that is, Table of Authorities entry field in your document. You can then search the document for the next long or short citation to mark, or you can automatically mark each subsequent occurrence of the citation. If you don't want to use the existing categories of citations, such as cases of statutes, you can change or add categories of citations. When you build a table of authorities, Word searches for the marked citations, organizes them by category, references their page numbers, and displays the table of authorities in the document. For example, the field TA Baldwin vs. Alberti 58 Win 2D2431961 Baldwin vs. Alberti creates the following entry in the cases category of a table of authorities. Baldwin vs. Alberti 58 WN 2D243 1961 5-6. Mailing tab. Mailings. Mailings tab has various important groups like Create, Start Mail Merge, Write, Start Mail Merge Write, and Insert Fields, Preview Results, and Finish group. Using Mail Merge. Mail Merge is a powerful tool for writing and sending a personalized letter or email to many different people at the same time. You can also use it to create envelopes or labels with each recipient information. Mail Merge imports data from another source, such as Excel, and then uses that data to replace placeholders throughout your message with the relevant information for each individual you are messaging. You can use it to quickly create personalized messages for hundreds of people at once. You can also use Mail Merge to create a catalog or directory. The same kind of information, such as name and description, is shown for each item, but the name and description in each item is unique. Click Directory to create this type of document. A set of envelopes. The return address is the same on all the envelopes, but the destination address is unique on each one. A set of mailing labels. Each label shows a person's name and address, but the name and address on each label is unique. A set of email messages. The basic content is the same in all the messages, but each message goes to the individual recipient and each message contains information that is specific to that recipient, such as the recipient's name or some other piece of information. You can use commands on the Mailings tab to perform a mail merge. When the mail merge is run, the word processing system creates an output document for each row in the database, using the fixed text exactly as it appears in the template, but substituting the data variables in the template with the values from the matching columns. Steps of Mail Merge. Setting up the main document. The main document contains the text and graphics that are the same for each version of the merged document. For example, the return address in a form letter. Connecting the document to a data source. A data source is a file that contains the information to be merged into a document. For example, the names and addresses of the recipients of a letter. Refining the list of recipients or items. Microsoft Word generates a copy of the main document for each recipient or item in your data file. If you want to generate copies for only certain items in your data file, you can choose which items or records to include. Adding placeholders called mail merge fields to the document. When you perform the mail merge fields are filled with information from your data file. Previews, changing individual documents and completing the merge. You can preview each copy of the document before you print the whole set, and you can change individual copies of the document. Setting up the main document. Setting up the main document. Start Word. A blank document opens by default. Leave it open. If you close it, the commands in the next step are not available. On the Mailings tab, in the Start Mail Merge group, click Start Mail Merge. Click Start Mail Merge. Click Letters. Connect the document to a data source. Connect the document to a data source. To merge information into your main document, you must connect the document to a data source or a data file. If you don't already have a data file, you can create one during the mail merge process. Choose a data file. On the Mailing tab, in the Start Mail Merge group, click Select Recipients. Use an existing data source file. If you have a Microsoft Excel worksheet, a Microsoft Access database, or another type of data file, click Use Existing List and then locate the file in the Select Data Source dialog box. For Excel, you can select data from any worksheet or named range within a workbook. For Access, you can select data from any table or query that is defined in the database. Refine the list of recipients or items. Refine the list of recipients or items. When you connect to a certain data file, you might not want to merge information from all the records or rows in that data file into your main document. To narrow the list of recipients or use a subset of the items in your data file, on the Mailings tab in the Start Mail Merge group, click Edit Recipient List. In the Mail Merge Recipients dialog box, select Individual Records. This method is most useful if your list is short. Select the checkboxes next to the recipients you want to include and clear the checkboxes next to the recipients you want to exclude. If you know that you want to include only a few records in your merge, you can clear the checkbox in the header row and then select only those records that you want. Similarly, if you want to include most of the list, select the checkbox in the header row and then clear the checkboxes for the records that you don't want to include. Filter records. This is useful if the list contains records that you know you don't want to see or include in the merge. After you filter the list, you can select or clear the checkboxes to include or exclude records. Add recipients. To add recipients to the list, do the following. Under Data Source, click the name of your data file. Click Edit. In the Edit Data Source dialog box, click New Entry and then type the information for that recipient. About Mail Merge fields. About Mail Merge fields. The placeholders such as address and greeting are called Mail Merge fields. Fields in Word correspond to the column headings in the data file that you select. Columns in a data file represent categories of information. Fields that you add to the main document are placeholders for these categories. Rows in a data file represent records of information. Word generates a copy of the main document for each record when you perform a mail merge. By putting a field in your main document, you indicate that you want a certain category of information, such as name or address, to appear in that location. Typing the content and adding the placeholders or fields. Typing the content and adding the placeholders or fields. In the main document, type any content that you want to appear on every copy of the document. To add a picture, such as a logo, click Picture in the Illustrations group on the Insert tab. Click where you want to insert the field. Use the Write and Insert Fields group on the Mailings tab. Add either of the options available. Address blocks with name, address, and other information. Click Address block. In the Insert Address block dialog box, select the address elements that you want to include and the formats that you want, and then click OK. If the Match Fields dialog box appears, Word may have been unable to find some of the information that it needs for the address block. Click the arrow next to Not Matched and then select the field from your data source that corresponds to the field that is required for the mail merge. Greeting line. Click Greeting line. Select the greeting line format, which includes the salutation, name format, and following punctuation. Select the text that you want to appear in cases where Microsoft Word can't interpret the recipient's name. For example, when the data source contains no first or last name for a recipient, but only a company name. Click OK. If the Match Fields dialog box appears, Word may have been unable to find some of the information that it needs for the greeting line. Click the arrow next to Not Matched and then select the field from your data source that corresponds to the field that is required for the mail merge. Individual fields. Individual fields. You can insert information from individual fields such as first name, telephone number, or the amount of a contribution from a list of donors. To quickly add a field from your data file to the main document, click the arrow next to Insert Merge field and then click the field name. For more options with inserting individual fields in the document, do the following. On the Mailings tab in the Write and Insert Fields group, click Insert Merge field. In the Insert Merge field dialog box, do one of the following. To select address fields that will automatically correspond to fields in your data source, even if the data source's fields don't have the same name as your fields, click Address Fields. To select fields that always take data directly from a column in your data file, click Database Fields. In the Fields box, click the field you want. Click Insert and then click Close. If the Match Fields dialog box appears, Microsoft Word may have been unable to find some of the information it needs to insert the field. Click the arrow next to Not Matched and then select the field from your data source that corresponds to the field that is required for the mail merge. Note: if you insert a field from the database fields list and then later switch to a data source that doesn't have a column with the same name, Word won't be able to insert that field information into the merged document. Previewing the merge. Previewing the merge. You can preview your merged documents and make changes before you actually complete the merge. To preview, do any of the following in the Preview Results group of the Mailings tab. Click Preview Results. Page through each merged document by using the Next Record and Previous Record buttons in the Preview Results group. Preview a specific document by clicking Find Recipient. Note: click Edit Recipient List in the Start Mail Merge group on the Mailings tab to open the Mail Merge Recipients dialog box, where you can filter the list or clear recipients if you see records that you don't want to include. Completing the merge. Completing the merge. You can print the merged documents or modify them individually. You can print or change all or just a subset of the documents. If you want to print a subset of the documents, you can specify the set by a range of record numbers. If you want to print pages instead of specifying record numbers, follow the instructions in the Change Individual Copies of the Documents section. Print the merged documents. On the Mailings tab in the Finish group, click Finish and Merge, and then click Print Documents. Choose whether to print the whole set of documents, only the copy that's currently visible, or a subset of a set which you specify by record number. Changing individual copies of the document. Changing individual copies of the document. On the Mailings tab in the Finish group, click Finish and Merge, and then click Edit Individual Documents. Choose whether you want to edit the whole set of documents, only the copy that's currently visible, or a subset of the set, which you specify by record number. Word compiles the copies that you want to edit into a single file, with a page break between each copy of the document. After you finish editing the new file of documents, you can print the documents by clicking the File tab, clicking Print, and then clicking the Print button. Saving the main document. Saving the main document. Remember that merged document that you save are separate from the main document. It's a good idea to save the main document itself if you plan to use it for another mail merge. When you save the main document, you can also save its connection to the data file. The next time that you open the main document, you are prompted to choose whether you want the information from the data file to be merged again into the main document. If you click Yes, the document opens with information from the first record merged in. If you click No, the connection between the main document and the data file is broken. The main document becomes a standard Word document. Fields are replaced with the unique information from the first record. Review tab comprises groups like proofing, language, comments, tracking, changes, compare, and protect groups. Proofing groups contain spelling and grammar, research, thesaurus, and word count options. Language groups has translate and language options. Comments groups has new comment, delete previous, and next options. Tracking groups has track changes, final show markup, and reviewing Pane options. Changes groups has accept, reject, previous, and next options. Compare groups has compare and combine options. Protect group has block authors and restrict editing options. You should explore all the tabs and commands in the practical sessions in order to better understand their actual application. Track changes in a document. Tracking changes in a document. Track changes is a way for Microsoft Word to keep track of the changes you make to a document. You can then choose to accept or reject those changes. This feature provides a means for editors and colleagues to communicate with you right within the document, proposing corrections and additions as needed. This feature is especially handy for identifying errors that inevitably occur in a piece of writing, such as typos. Even better, using track changes allows an editor to help create consistency within a report, especially helpful when a report is created by a group of researchers writing different sections at different times. Enabling track changes. Open the document that you want to revise. On the Review tab in the Tracking group, click the Track Changes button. The Track Changes button becomes highlighted. Make the changes that you want by inserting, deleting, moving, or formatting text or graphics. Proofreading. Setting the proofing language. Proofreading. Setting the proofing language. To set the proofing language for text and check your spelling, follow these steps. Select the text that you want to set the language for. On the Review tab, in the Language group, click Language and then click Set Proofing Language. In the Set Proofing Language pane, verify that the correct language is associated with the text. If it is not, you need to select the language that you want to use for the dictionary. Click in the note to close the dictionary pane. Repeat steps 1 to 4 for each section of text that you want to check. Check spelling. On the Review tab, click Spelling. Note: if the spelling command is not available, press F7 to start the spelling checker.